Bloomsburg always seems to bring out the boldest tough truckers north of the Mason-Dixon. And when you're talking the stock class, you're talking names like Dinkun, Paus, Spencer, Faust, and many more who know not the meaning of taking it easy. From the Bloomsburg Fairgrounds in Bloomsburg, Pennsylvania, A&A Auto Stores presents the 32nd Annual Four-Wheel Jamboree Summer Nationals. Today, it's the Stock Tough Trucks Challenge. If you remember back to our coverage in Lima, Ohio, we've got some familiar faces in the field, including Mike Andrus, Ed Dinkun, Doug Paust, Rachel Faust. And of course, if you saw our Modified Tough Trucks coverage, we've got some members of Team Foy Toy here. They're out in force. That means Mara Spencer is in this field out of the state of New York. First pair up. Nearest to the camera, that is Mike Andrus and Mr. Big Bucks. He is taking on Brandon Barnes and the Killer Clown. They're running the same track that the Modifieds ran, and I'm not going to say they're running timid right now, but they're still getting used to the track, the grass, and the dirt. Still a little bit damp. They watered the track not too long ago, so these guys are chewing up the top layer at this point because our Modified class that you saw a few editions ago would end up running right after this. So, Mike Andrus comes down the front stretch in the lead with Mr. Big Bucks. He would set the early time at a 53.56. Brandon Barnes at a 56.65. Second pair out included Doug Paust. In the Solo Cup, that's the red machine furthest from the camera, taking on Lindsay Brobst in her truck. Pretty even run down the front stretch. She would actually have an advantage with the inside turn out of the first leg, but watch what happens. She ended up in Doug Paust's lane and hit the barricade. That would be an automatic penalty. Doug Paust pretty much on a free pass, but he still has to lay down a good time because this is not elimination racing. You place based on the time you lay down, and Doug was very aggressive. He would move into the number one spot with a 52.68. Next pair up, pair of Grand Cherokees. Louis Bonavena in the last leg, that maroon machine nearest the fence, and the gold Jeep that is just send it, Moses Spade. Very aggressive pair of vehicles for looking as bone stock as they do. Cannot wait to see these guys today. They're going to be on a little bit drier track, and they're going to be used to it, so I'm sure they're going to be a lot faster. But this was a pretty enjoyable pair to watch. Moses Spade out front, coming out of the tunnel. He would turn onto the front stretch with a sizable advantage and lay down a time good enough for second place, 52.87. See right there for Moses Spade, last leg. Bonavena comes across with a time good enough for fifth place. Next pair up, another member of that Thomas and Rachel Faust team of Mad Money and Pretty Penny. That's $1.50. Bill Hess in the blue blazer in the right lane. I'm not going to tell you what the name of that one is. You'll find out in a little bit. $1.50 with the lead right now. Going into the tunnel. This ended up being a pretty even pair as they came back around. Both of them struggled a little bit out on the loop. You can see the Blazer jumping into the lead momentarily, but with that outside turn, there was almost no way, unless he really laid into it, that he was going to end up with the top time out of these two. Bill Hess heading toward the finish line against a very bouncy Blazer over there. Good enough for fourth place for the $1.50 machine. Now, we talked about her a moment ago. Rachel Faust, Pretty Penny, one of the wildest drivers in the stock class. She is taking on Jimbo Snyder and Barney. Little bobble right there for Faust. Gets back underway, and she's got the lead. Watch her attack the track. All the way over the final jump. Time was good enough for fifth. Now, Mara Spencer. Big, Bad, and Ugly is the name of the vehicle, and the driver is far from Mara, one of the toughest tough truckers in the business, and she comes from a tough family. Her uncle is Jake Nichols, driver of the Foy Toy modified tough truck. She's taking on the machine called Cookie Patrol, being driven by Robert Barnes. You'll see Mara get pretty aggressive here, but she gets a little bit out of shape. Not sure what was going wrong there, and she does it again right here, but the time was good enough for fourth place, a 54.62 to take the win in that pair. There goes Cookie Patrol across the finish line, not quite enough. Next pair, the final pair we're going to show you from day number 1, Ed Dincoon in mean green. He had his share of problems in Lima, Ohio, but he is fast. He takes on David Sladke in half a Hemi, the Martin Towing sponsored Toyota, with a very interesting engine combination. Watch Dincoon come down the final front stretch run. There's your first place right there, Ed Dincoon in a 50.43 to set the stage going in to day number 2. So it was an awesome start to our stock tough truck bracket. And we have a bunch coming up for you under the sunshine here on Saturday afternoon. The stock class, session number 2, is coming up next here on Monster Power.
This Back Channel Productions program is presented in part by Monsters Monthly. For up-to-date show and ticket info, articles, event breakdowns, and a wide selection of photo and video galleries, visit monstersmonthly.com.
We will four-wheel drive you wild. The O'Reilly Auto Parts four-wheel jamboree roars into the Indiana State Fairgrounds all this weekend, Friday through Sunday. Big, tough, lifted, unstoppable. With shiny rides, muddy tires, the Tough Truck Challenge, General Tire Burnout, the UTV Shootout, and lightning fast mud drag. See Bigfoot and the world's top monsters in the General Tire Monster Truck Thunder Drag. Shop and save in the huge performance marketplace. Get discount tickets at O'Reilly Auto Parts. Info at fourwheeljamboree.com. Part of the Lucas Oil Four-Wheel Jamboree Series.
Monster Power, home to the best of the Lucas Oil Four-Wheel Jamboree Series for 2019, featuring the Stock Tough Trucks Challenge. There is a look at the times coming into Saturday afternoon after session 1. Ed Dincoon with a 2+ second lead on the rest of the field. Doug Powers with that 52.68, and it's Moses Spade, Mike Andrus, and Frank Bonaiuto rounding out the top 5. Speaking of Mike Andrus, there he sits on the starting line. Mr. Big Bucks, Jeep Grand Cherokee, taking on the Jeep Cherokee Sport. That is the Killer Clown of Mike Barnes. Both of these guys laid down pretty strong runs on Friday evening. We'll have to see what they do now that they're a little bit more used to the course and they have a little bit better dirt to work with. Not quite as wet, though. There is some mud right there on the front stretch. The rest of the course seems to be coming around, and Andrus being very, very aggressive right now as he heads toward the tunnel. Barnes, very smooth. Remember, when they come out of the tunnel, Andrus will have the inside turn, meaning he will have to make an outside turn onto the front stretch. He needs to get into the lead right now if he hopes to hold it onto the front stretch, heading toward the finish line. And at this moment, it looks like he's going to do just that unless something catastrophic happens. But very smooth run right now for Mike Andrus. Let's see how he handles the front stretch here. Barnes giving him a run. I don't think he's going to be able to catch him, though. And Andrus flying across the finish line in a big puff of dust, a 48.90. He is your new leader, and Killer Clown is rolling to a stop. Brandon Barnes, not a happy driver.
Killer Clown has been killed.
I don't think he's going to get that thing refired. It looks like he is going to get ready to take the helmet off. He'll probably need a hook off the front stretch here. We'll get another look, though, at Mike Andrus, who just flat-footed it.
Mr. Big Bucks.
Down the final straight. And watch the hang time as he comes over the finish line. Remember, this is just the first run today. This is about to get very, very interesting. Mike Andrus laying down the number 1 time now. Doug Poust. Solo Cup, nearest to the camera, taking on Lindsey Probst in her truck, and she got out on him on the starting line. She still got the lead. Poust gonna have to go some. She looks a little bit more comfortable in that outside lane. You notice they switched lanes. They'll do it again. They'll switch back for tonight's event, which will be coming up in a future edition of Monster Power. Poust right now laying down a good run. Probst giving him a little competition, but she's struggling back over here with that loop. She went a little wide around that tire. Poust looking real good. Here comes Lindsey, though. She's not too far behind. Rolling on into the tunnel. Boy, if that truck holds together, he's going to be a threat. I thought it was coming to a stop right there. Doug Poust does like to put a hurt on some equipment. Big leap across the finish line for Doug Poust. Lindsey Probst, 55.87.
And the Solo Cup pulling down the time of 50.2.
I do believe Poust will go into second place. No penalties, so he will. Here is a look from the end zone camera. Watch Poust come across this finish line. Twisting that Jeep up. May have done a little bit of suspension damage there. It was a good run for Doug. Not a bad run for Lindsey. Now our next pair. Nearest to the camera. It is the last leg. Jeep Grand Cherokee taking on Moses Spade. The gold Grand Cherokee called Just Send It. Louis Bonavena nearest the camera, trying to get a little lead on Spade. Pretty even right now. And a big bounce there for last leg. Looking a lot better today than it was yesterday, but he's got a problem. Spade's all alone out there. Can last leg get refired? He did, but he's got a lot of ground to make up. It probably isn't going to happen for him here today. Moses Spade making a good run. Out there in turn number 4. As he heads back out of the tunnel, he'll come over the tabletop and head down the front stretch. Let's see what kind of run he lays down here. He was pretty aggressive yesterday. Oh, he's got a good one going here. That was a perfect leap over the final jump. Here comes last leg, still trying to put down a time. The hatch is coming open. Well, he was about to leave some parts on the track. Second fast time right now, Moses Spade. Last leg of the 59.03, not bad for the truck shutting off on him. We have plenty more, though, still to come. We are not even close to done. More wild action coming up next. Monster Power is in Bloomsburg, Pennsylvania at the Bloomsburg Fairgrounds for the Stop Tough Trucks Challenge, part of the A&A Auto Stores 4-Wheel Jamboree Summer Nationals. Bill Hess taking on Dylan Shikaya. Bill Hess in the buck-and-a-half Bronco. We told you we would tell you the name of this vehicle when we got to it again. The Blue Blazer is called Blue Balls. They have painted it since yesterday, and it is putting on a bouncy run right now. Buck and a half with a lead going into the tunnel. I'm not sure if he's running shocks or just straight springs on the front of that Blazer, but it's not getting much absorption there. It's just a whole lot of bouncing for that thing. The Bronco with a fairly sizable advantage right now as he heads back toward the tunnel. Although the Blazer made a little bit tighter turn there, he's not quite moving as quickly. Both of them a little slow back there, though. I'm not sure that he's going to take the top time. They may still, with 2 more sessions to go after this, just be feeling the track out. Bill Hess putting on a good run. Look at that launch for Shikaya. Bill Hess with a wild sideways leap. He crossed that thing, and look at Dylan bouncing all over the track. He's getting sideways. Wild pair of vehicles right there, Bill Hess. That's not a bad time. I know he wanted to be a little bit faster, but still, that was a pretty good time. Right now they're checking to see if there are any penalties on that run. Track official heads out to stage up the next pair, but we're going to take a look back now at the beginning of this run. Watch Dylan Shikaya bounce down the front stretch right here. Now, Bill Hess is making a pretty smooth run in the Bronco. Watch the Blazer. Front end comes up and doesn't touch the ground. Basically ran on the rear wheels down the back side of that ramp, and then the second ramp does basically the same thing. He's getting beaten around in that cockpit. Good run for both of those trucks, though. It was at the very least entertaining. If you're not going to take the top time, get the crowd on their feet. Up next, Rachel Faust taking on Jimbo Snyder. Pretty Penny, the purple Jeep in the far lane. The maroon Jeep with the green rims. That is Barney. Rachel Faust, as usual, really attacking the track. Barney appears to be having some problems there. Jimbo Snyder trying to play catch-up. I don't think he's going to be able to do it. Faust going way wide. She almost gets into the guardrail, though. Gave up a few tenths right there. She's going to have to be real aggressive on the way back. Remember, you're not really racing the guy in the other lane so much as you're racing the clock. Getting after it there, not as wild as I thought she would be, but that was a picture-perfect leap over the final jump, and indeed, Snyder is having problems. He just refired that Ford Explorer. He'll come across the first of the front stretch jumps there, putting on a bouncy ride, a 50-62. Not bad for Rachel Faust. They'll get her in the upper crust of this field right now. Snyder will have to settle for 108.72. More to come. Session 2 continues. They're all going after Mike Andrews.
Four-wheel drive you wild. The O'Reilly Auto Parts four-wheel jamboree roars into the Indiana State Fairgrounds September 20th through 22nd. Get discount tickets at O'Reilly Auto Parts. Info at fourwheeljamboree.com. Part of the Lucas Oil Four-Wheel Jamboree Series.
Back at the Bloomsburg Fairgrounds in Bloomsburg, Pennsylvania, still chasing Mike Andrews, who was in the first pairing today, sitting in the number 1 spot. And here's the guy who was number 1 until Mike made that run. Ed Dinkoon in the mean green Dodge Ram, taking on David Sladkey in the half a Hemi Toyota machine. Should be a pretty good pair. We'll see. Ed would love to get that fast time back. Probably for Sladkey right off the starting line. Dinkoon looks like he's going to be all by himself out there. Well, Sladkey's still running, so don't count him out just yet, but I don't think it's going to be his day today. Ed Dinkoon heading into the tunnel all alone. Not as aggressive a run as I'm used to seeing Ed make, but he's still laying down good times here this weekend, so I guess that really doesn't matter. In fact, if he can keep the truck lower to the ground, look at this, Slackey's actually making a little bit of a comeback here. Dinkun getting after it now. Wait and see what the time's going to be. It should be a good one, a little bit out of shape. Bouncing down onto the ground, let's see. Good enough for second, a 49.13 for Ed Dinkun. And half a Hemi. Gonna end up almost 6.5 seconds too slow. Now we're gonna take a look back at a few of the other runs, maybe some of the honorable mentions from earlier in the day. In the outside lane, that's Wayne Poe. A Sheep takes on the black Jeep of Michael Miller. Sheep way out in front on this one. 52.28. Gets him in the upper half of the field. Not too bad a run. Michael Miller will have to wait until later tonight to try his hand. Now this was a bit of a bummer right here. Big, bad, and ugly. Mara Spencer laying down a good run. She was slated to possibly be the fastest here this weekend. It's not going to happen this afternoon. You're about to see why. Watch the leap that she makes coming back onto the front stretch. That's all she wrote. You can tell Jake Nichols taught her a thing or two. She just flew onto that front stretch. Cookie Patrol making a run down. Not a bad run. 7.5 seconds slower than first place. Unfortunately, Spencer would go off the track on the hook. Now, the gentleman in the near lane, that is Ernie Herzog. He actually got booed last night, but he's doing something rather impressive. That's his daily driver he's taken down this track, and he's still getting himself in the field. He finished, I believe, 21 of 22 yesterday, so that's not too bad. Of course, Frank the Tank getting the better of those two runs. That put him in 6th place for the moment. Frank Bonaiuto way ahead of Ernie Herzog. But hey, Ernie laid down his personal best. That's not too bad. Red Toyota. Takes some guts to bring your daily driver out on the track, and I hope you can maybe limp it home at the end of the weekend. Here comes Harold Schaefer now in the Bronco Buster, an appropriately named vehicle. Pretty aggressive driver, and you can see there's the time he laid down of 54.78. Chelsea Hinkle in C-Note. We've seen that vehicle in the past here on Monster Power. Neither one of these getting quite the run they wanted, but they made it a good race to the finish. She almost got him right there. Not quite what she was looking for. All right, our final pair, Mousetrap. It is Brandon Miller taking on Adam Brobst in his truck. Brobst is way, way out front right now. May need to pick up the pace a little bit. Here comes Mousetrap. Starting to gain some ground on Brobst. He's going to have to go a little. Almost turned in too early back there in that little Bronco. The 74 Ford making its way back onto the front stretch. This is going to be a pretty good time. Look at that all the way across, bouncing down on the nose. There comes Mousetrap, and look at that. 3rd place will go to Adam Brobst, so not a bad finish at all. Brandon Miller with a 54.75 will wrap things up in 11th place, but significantly improved time from yesterday. Now, here is a look at the top 5 after 2 sessions. Mike Andrus, who was in the first pair, held off an entire field. Ed Dinkun, though, still hanging on there in 2nd place. I'm sure he'll speed things up for everybody before the end of the weekend. Adam Brobst, a surprise up there in the field with that full-size Ford pickup. Moses Spade and the bone stock looking just send it. Our buddy Doug Powell, the Wild Man, rounds out the top 5. It's been an awesome afternoon so far. We've still got a bunch of stuff to bring you from here in Bloomsburg, including the monster trucks, the modified tough trucks, and more from the stock class. They have 2 more sessions to go. We'll see who can walk out of this weekend with the top time. In the meantime, Mike Andrus hanging on there in first place. It's been awesome so far. We will see you on the next edition of Monster Power.